Hey everybody, welcome back to Board Online, Board Offline. Today we're bringing you the review for the Star Realms Crisis Packs. Now, I know that technically these are 4 different expansions, but I'm going to do them as a single review because, well, that's just what I want to do. I feel like really with 12 cards apiece, they're one expansion. They just got split up into smaller bites so that everybody could pick and choose which ones they wanted. And it made it a little easier to afford, And so, anyway, let's get on into it. So again, we've got fleets and fortresses, bases and battleships, heroes, and the event cards. So let's jump right into it. Originality. Now, as far as originality goes for fleets and fortresses and bases and battleships. If it had been just these 2 expansions, it would have probably gotten it would have gotten significantly lower on the originality because these are just more ships, and that's good as far as gameplay and all that stuff goes. These ships are really neat. They got some really good stuff in them. The customs frigate is pretty cool, where you can acquire a ship of cost 4 or less and put on top of your deck. I'm trying to see, there's a couple of these in here. There's a lot of new scrap in the trade row cards for the blobs. But in terms of originality, it's just not there for these 2. However, you go and throw in, actually there was one here. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so I will say that the obliterator for the blobs and then the defense bot bring in a rule that, or kind of do variations on a rule that wasn't used very much in the original base set, where if you have 2 or more bases, you get an effect. So in this, with the defense bot, you can scrap a card in your hand or discard upon. Then if you control 2 or more bases, gain 8 attack. That's pretty cool. But that's still a variation on a rule that was already there. The obliterator actually changed that rule even more. That was for the blobs, where if your opponent has 2 or more bases in play, you gain 6 attack, and that's based on your opponent's bases. So I thought that was pretty neat too. So a little bit more original in how those work there. But really where the originality for this one comes into play is going to be with the heroes and the event cards. The event cards are really neat in that it really kind of throws in a random element to the game as far as your planning and everything goes, because when these come up, it can make you do, you can maybe draw 2 cards with the Quasar, or the warp jump. That one allows you some better planning because you can pull 3 cards, you draw 3 cards, and then you keep one of them, put 2 back on top of the deck however you want to. And it's got this terrible stuff that happens too. Let's see, like bombardment, where all of a sudden you've lost a base or you've lost 6 authority. So, and it happens to everybody. It's not just one player where this happens. It affects everybody at the table. Those are cool. My favorite though are the heroes, and I think that the heroes got a bad rap when they initially came out. I'm hoping now people are starting to see that they actually are pretty useful and even powerful. I know that when I first started playing with them, I didn't really fully understand how useful they could be. It feels like they're kind of weak. It's a one-shot for one thing. For instance, a special ops director. You hold on to him, he's sitting there just doing nothing, and then you scrap him and gain 4 authority, which isn't really a big deal. You can, I know that later on in the game, people are losing, 14, 15, 20 authority at a time, but really where to me their power comes in is with that ally ability, in that you can, let's say that you're playing the game and you're focusing on maybe blue and red, but you have that one extra yellow card you've pulled in that you you want to use for whatever ability, but it has an ally ability on there. You're never going to trigger that because you have maybe just 1 or 2 yellows in your deck because you're just using them for that discard ability or whatever. That's when you want to grab, the Cunning Captain or Admiral Rasmussen and have them sitting there ready to go, waiting, because they're just going to be on the table waiting for whenever you're ready to use them, and you're waiting on that yellow card to come back out, and you scrap them, and then you can use that ally ability that otherwise is just a useless piece of the card. And I really like that about the hero cards. Originality, I'm giving this set a 1.5 out of 2. That's a 75% overall for originality. I really like what I'm seeing here. Again, not knocking these 2 sets, not knocking them for what they are, because they add a lot more of really cool Star Realms flavor to the game. But the originality is not there. The originality is really in these 2 and how they change the game in ways that you had not seen prior to their release. Aesthetics, this is out of a possible 3. This is going back to your standard Star Realms stuff. Look at this artwork. It is, if you love Star Realms artwork, then you're going to love this artwork because it is. Look at Death World. That is a pretty cool card to me right there. If you love the Star Realms artwork, then there's nothing here that's going to change the way you feel. This is all standard, standard for what you've come to expect in this game. Look at the defense spots. Those guys are pretty cool. If you don't like Star Realms artwork, you're not going to like this artwork. There's another one. The construction hauler here. That guy's pretty cool looking. Where even with the event cards, this is very, very similar artwork. These cards are new and improved. Well, not really improved necessarily, but they're new types of cards, but they still have very similar feeling artwork. The place where the art might differ a little bit because you've never had it down on the personal level like this is going to be with the heroes. But I think they do a fantastic job of invoking the different feelings and styles of the different factions with these guys. Look at the Ram pilot. That looks like what I always kind of imagined the guy inside of that ram is going to be looking like. So that's pretty awesome. The aesthetics here, obviously with the graphic design on these cards, it's the same as it was in the other games, and I thought that, or in the other sets, and I thought that the graphic design was fantastic. I think there's no issue with the graphic design. So overall, I really, really like the artwork. I have always thought that the artwork sometimes with the ships is a little bit samey, especially within a faction. The factions themselves all separate out real nice, but within the faction a little bit samey. But for the most part, I really like what we've got here. And so for aesthetics, I'm doing 2.4 out of 3, which comes to 80% overall. It's really, really good. Like it a lot. Component quality, well, as usual for this, they're cards. That's what there is. Still no type of upgrade for the authority track. Hopefully one day granted, I guess you don't really need it. I use pencil and paper. If you watch my actual Star Realms review, you saw I threw away. I got rid of those authority cards. They're garbage. Truly garbage. And obviously in these come in the little plastic, baseball card type pack. So obviously no upgrade for the authority tracker, but there's all kinds of apps, so you can use pencil and paper and all that. So whatever. So you're left with the cards themselves. These are, it's a card game, and these are what they are. So the Crisis Pack here, I gave the same as I gave for the Gambit set for components, 3 out of 4. They're cards. There's nothing particularly special about them, but they are not any worse than what we normally see in card and board games today. So I feel like a 75%, a good score on my scale, is pretty accurate for that. Moving along to thrill factor. Let's look at these two first with fleets and fortresses and bases and battle. I keep wanting to say battlefields. I don't know why I'm doing that. With fleets and fortresses and bases and battleships, it's going to be just like how you feel about the main game. It doesn't, again, add any additional thrill factor to the game except for just the fact that you've got more ships and more options and more bases, or an outpost, I guess I should say, which is really, really cool. I mean, if you like Star Realms, you're going to love variety in your deck for the most part, I would think. Maybe there's a few people that want to hold on to the base set and they don't want the extra stuff, but whatever. I like them a lot. I think that the added variety is really cool. With these, knowing that at any moment when you flip over a card, it could be an event that could be beneficial or detrimental to the overall game. Technically speaking, if you're down to the point where you have a very little bit of authority left, one of these event cards could end the game, really. And that definitely adds a little bit of what's the next card? What's the next card going to be when you flip it over? You're kind of holding your breath a little bit when you get to that point in the game. And the heroes, I can't get over. I just can't tell you how much I like these guys. Having them sitting there ready to scrap them to do whatever their effect is, it has a little bit of the feel of the Gambit cards, except more useful. If you watch my Gambit set review, I felt the Gambit cards were kind of a take it or leave it type thing. But these guys really add a lot to the game. It's a subtle thing. They only cost 1 or 2 trade depending on which one you're getting. And it adds a lot for, that spare change you have at the end of your turn that maybe you're not going to spend. They don't clutter up your deck. They sit there and so you've got them there ready to go, or your opponent does, and both of you are wondering when are you going to finally trigger that guy to use that ability, and are you going to be able to combo it off of another card that you're going to play to trigger an ally ability that normally wouldn't get triggered. These guys really do add a lot to the game. So for thrill factor, I'm going to throw in it at 2.4 out of 3, which is an 80%. I think this is really great as far as what these add to the game, and then the variety these add to the game. It all just really comes together nicely and keeps the game exciting and feeling fresh and new. It's really enjoyable, the different things these have to offer. And the thrill factor involved. If you throw all 4 of these into the deck at the same time, which is what I did, it really almost feels like you got a brand new game that it's like you're revisiting an old favorite type thing. It is really how it feels, and it's a really good time. And finally, that brings us to gameplay overall, which I think I've kind of already touched on a bit, and I'm sure you can see where it's going. What these add to the game is variety and new strategy with these guys, and then a holy crap, what's about to happen every time you turn over the card. I know we've had it when I've been playing with my wife. We've had a couple times where we've turned over 3 events in a row, and that's pretty brutal sometimes, especially if they're all bad ones. Or we've had entire games where events haven't come up at all. Just at this point, you've got a deck about that thick for your trade deck, so who knows what's going to happen? You might get all base set cards, or you might get a majority of the new cards. It fleshes out the gameplay that's already there. It adds some really interesting choices in these guys, especially because if you noticed, a number of the cards that come with these are going to be higher value cards. So are you going to spend all your money on these newer ones, or are you going to try to get more of the smaller cards into your deck? When do you start buying the bigger ones? Are these guys worth actually intentionally directing money towards them, or are you just going to spend your spare change on them? And then how do you react to the event cards when they come up? What do you do? Some of them give you choices as far as what's going to happen. Discard these cards or else this happens type thing. So gameplay overall is in no way damaged by these. I think it's only enhanced, and so I'm giving gameplay a 4.4 out of 5 or an 88%. Really, it's just continuing to make an enjoyable game even more enjoyable. As far as quick two-player games go, especially quick two-player deck builders, it just really doesn't get any better than Star Realms, and the Crisis cards only add to that. So where does that leave us? Overall, for the Star Realms Crisis packs, I'm giving you an 80.5% overall, which is a great score on my scale. You can see that's dropping, I believe, right around 4th. I think just underneath Star Realms itself on my now top 9 all-time reviewed games. So, yeah, I mean, what else can I say? Star Realms is a great game. The Crisis packs are what I wish the Gambit set had been. You know, the Gambit set had a couple of cool things in it, but for the most part, just not really, is, you know, whatever. If I never had that set again, I'd be all right. These are awesome, and I can't wait to see what they're going to be bringing out with the next. I believe they're working on a base set next. So 80.5%. If you don't have the Crisis decks, don't get individual ones. Get the whole thing. Get all 4 packs at the same time. If you don't get all 4 packs at the same time, I say get the heroes first, and then I guess pick and choose what you want from there. The heroes are without doubt my favorite. Followed, I don't know, the other 3. Like I said, I like all 4 of them. I can't really pick and choose. If you want more ships, both of these are awesome. If you want something that's completely different, the event deck is good too, but get the heroes first, in my opinion. Okay, thanks for watching the review. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give the video a thumbs up if you did. Please subscribe to my channel if you like my channel. You can find me on Twitter at boredonlineboardoffline. I'm on BGG, the Baker 1983, and I'm on Board Game Blender every other week. So until next time, if you're bored online, board offline.